Hello everyone, my name is Suellio. Welcome to Major's Garage. This is Formula 3 at Hockenheim, and we're gonna see my lap for this next week. So let's go straight to T1. So basically what we want to do is, first of all, be on the very limit of the curb, so you can open up just a tiny bit more and you can send it in a little bit better to the corner. Then we don't really want to lift completely, but if needed, if you feel you have to get a tiny bit more rotation, so that I lift a little bit more. I don't really reach actually 0%. I go back to as low as like 3-4% throttle, then I go back on the throttle as I am in the sausage here. We want to be as close as possible to the sausage without actually using it. If you use it, you can get away with it, but it's not optimal. It's not consistent. Sometimes the car behaves in a weird way, under shears out, and you get on off track. So be careful with that. Really make sure you are using all here, and then you turn in pretty quick. You see, I'm turning in quick, and then I lift. So it's really the precision of the turn in that's going to make the difference here. And then what you want to do at this point, especially when you hit this bump here, is that you have light hands. Don't keep trying to turn too much to the right, because you may understeer even more and go and get on off track. So what you want to do is lighten up your hands, so you let the car go all the way on this second layer of the curb here. You can actually put the antenna of the car, if you look in the cockpit, you can actually put the antenna of the car on the edge of this curb here. So that means you can use a lot without getting off track. If you go with the antenna on the green here, that's where you get off track. Then we go back. We aim for this next corner. Basically, what I aim for is the very beginning of the curb. But as you see, we do use those things as a reference. But I start braking a little bit before. My reference is for the it's for the peak pressure. So when I reach my peak pressure, I am at the curb. So every time you see a reference like that, aim for the peak pressure. So you smash the brakes, and you want your peak pressure to be... how many times did I say peak pressure? To be at the very beginning of the curb. Then really braking as hard as you can, stopping the car, and then turning in on third or second gear. Exit on second is a little bit more difficult, but faster. Third gear is very safe. But it's never going to be as quick as second if you get used to second gear. So it's a personal choice. I spun several times trying on second, so more practice is needed. And third gear is fairly quick. But if you want that extra half a tenth, then you should go for the second gear. Get back on the throttle. Don't be afraid of letting the car run a little bit to the left here, because all you need to do is cross this little curb here. I would use the curb itself, but not the green. And then also stay away from this curb here, because it just makes the car bottom out and you lose lots of time. I mean, half a tenth, but that's time. If you need, because you're going to lose a lot of time by lifting, then yes, use it. But try not to. Try to set your ideal line, not using that curb. Then for this corner, I'm really using the 100 to brake. As you can see, starting to brake. Actually, I'm braking even a tiny bit after. My maximum pressure is like 2 cars after the 100. So, but I do use the 100 as a reference, and brake at the 100. First gear, we try to downshift as early as possible to the first gear before turning in. And you see, I am starting to turn on second, but ideally we want to get the first gear to really rotate the car into the corner, so you can get a good exit. And on the exit, first gear is very tricky. You have to be very gentle, and you have to hear the car. You see, there's no power. And then suddenly, when the RPM goes up a little bit, it gets into the torque area where the car delivers lots of power. So you have to be careful that initial application, there's no power. After 1 second, you have to really be aware that the car will instantly spin if you keep accelerating too hard. So as you can see, my throttle is really like... Wait. Okay, now I got into the power. I upshift, I'm straight, and then I really go for it. So very careful on this exit. Then here I'm using the end of the first curve as a braking reference. You can see I'm starting to brake at the end, reach my maximum pressure more or less a little bit after. Yeah, it's kind of here. I don't really go to 100% at the beginning of the access road. Then I'd like to stay on third here. And then same thing. If you want to use second, it may be a little bit quicker. but it's a little bit too much stress for the tire in this part, in a way that if you overheat the rears here on the change of direction to the right here, it's going to be a little bit more tricky. So that's why I like to keep them third. So it makes everything a little bit easier on the corner next, just because I'm managing the temperature of the tire a little bit more. Also, be careful not to go a little bit more than that here. It makes the car bottom out and you lose a little bit of time. So for this one, as you can see, what I want really is to be as close as possible to the wall. So exactly here on the... well, you can use the white line if you want to like really go over the white line. That's good. And then also same thing, try to turn in kind of precisely. It doesn't need to be slow turn in. In my case, it was kind of slow because I realized I turned a tiny bit too early, so I had to wait a little bit more. Aim for the green, really use all the green, see? And then you get back in the throttle. In this case here, I went a little bit too much and actually got the gravel, but you can survive if that happens. You just need to make sure that you keep the car going forward. You can see I was actually acting a little bit too much. If you use the green and get some more rotations, in my case here, I kind of bottomed out a little bit. If you get a little bit more rotation than that and you go all the way to only these two curbs, it's also going to be equally fast. So just make sure you don't slow down too much for this car, for this corner, because this car has lots of downforce. So stay on 5th gear and then really send it in. The downforce will help you. Then for this one, it's a very long braking. So you can see I'm braking. I really wait a long time before I get back on the throttle. Wait. Okay, let's go. So as you can see, it's really the patience on getting back on the throttle, because this is a kind of a double apex. It's kind of a double apex. So what I do is I brake on the beginning of the curb here. My maximum pressure at the very beginning of the curb. Then I slowly trail brake. It feels like the car is going wide and coming back, but it happens so fast and in a so slight way that it looks like a single apex, but I treat it as a double apex. That's the idea. Double apexes are longer and you have to wait a lot more before you get back on the throttle. And then I get back on the throttle just once. That's the idea. Boom, go. You can use this green here. Just make sure you're really stable over it. Light hands, don't force it too much because it's unstable here. And then same thing here. You can use a little bit this to prepare better the double rights at the end. But in this car, I think we do have time to use it like this and then start loading it very early. So by the time you're really turning on the ideal turn-in of this corner, the car is not pointing too much. You see, I am pointing outwards a little bit, but it's just because I'm loading the car earlier and making a single corner all the way here. You see, I'm basically not going straight in between these two corners. So wait, 3rd gear. We can use a little bit of this sausage, but not more than that. If you use more than that, you bottom out, you lose lots of time. The car understeers. So just go over it with the outside tires, no more than that. And then wait, get back on the throttle. Here I got a little bit of oversteer, tried to correct it, and ended up getting the grass, the dirt and the grass. But the off-track limit here is actually the antenna over the grass. So that means I'm still on the limits here, and I didn't get an off track. So this was a clean lap. Lap was at 24.006. The optimal is actually at 23.7, so there's a lot of time to find, just in precision here and there. But this was a very good lap reference of how the limits are, how much you can go, where you can, what you can do with the car and the track. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and I will see you in the next week. Bye bye.